welcome back to my channel. My name is Christina and I am the owner, CEO of The Chatty Mouse. As you may already know, it is a 7-figure business and it's my pride and joy, but a little thing had a tweak in my mind and my heart for me to actually be able to make a substantial amount of money. So I have 3 examples that I want to talk about today of how I had to get emotionally regulated in order to make that much money. So the first example I have is way back when I started. I remember getting my first inquiry slash booked them within that hour, and it was a $300 order. I remember it happened when I was at the movie theater with my husband, and when we were getting our concessions, I got the message. She had seen me on my cousin's page and she wanted to move forward. And I said, yeah, well, it's $300. She was like, jumped on it. Of course, it was so cheap back then before I knew my pricing and like the value of my work. That's another video. So I went into the movie theater and I could no longer focus on anything else. I was so excited because back then I was making $25 an hour as a paralegal. So not that much compared to how fast I was able to make the $300, because it was going to be essentially like doing something that I love for 2 hours and being able to make what I make in like half a week in an office, you know, the 9 to 5. So I was in the movie theater and I could not think of anything else but this order. I did it. It turned out great. Fast forward, the power of social media, I posted it. I got another order. Same thing, around $300. And that evening when it happened, I was having dinner with my husband, and we were gonna we went to bed and everything. I couldn't concentrate on dinner. I couldn't even enjoy my dinner. I couldn't even fall asleep. I was so excited. It was anxiety mixed with excitement, which is what kind of excitement is, right? It's a little bit of anxiousness. So there I am again, and I remember laying in bed and thinking like, I don't want to be in business if it means feeling like a knot in my stomach the whole time. I just didn't want to do it anymore. Like, I can't do it. Is this what people go through? Mind you, it was only $300, which I don't mean to make it seem like it's not a lot of money. $300 is a lot of money. I know it is, especially because if you're watching this, you're probably 18 and 29, and you never know, right? I remember when 10 cents, I was looking for 10 cents in the trunk of my car. That's how much I know that $300 is a lot of money. But to my point, at my mental capacity now and in my heart, it's not a lot of money. So I just knew if business felt like this, I couldn't be in it and I couldn't do it for too long because it just felt so uncomfortable. And in that discomfort, I grew. I grew to the point where it used to give me a scary feeling when I had like $1,000 of merchandise in our car, because if something happened, I didn't even have the money to repay it. And along the lines, and I want to think it's repetition and obviously making more money. And now I think of money in the thousands versus before I thought about it in the hundreds. Like $100 is a lot of money. Now $1,000 is not that much, and so on, right? So with that transition, now we've done like up to $10,000 orders, and I don't bat an eye. So if you're starting business and you have this angst, like you can't even fathom charging the correct prices because how could you make that much money? There will be a growth spurt that you will go through, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but you will see money differently. And the only way to develop that muscle is by exercising it. It's by being in it, by charging the right amount, by being a little bit uncomfortable with that amount, and then getting paid that much constantly to the point where it becomes who you are. And it's like, yeah, of course I'm gonna make that much money. Of course I'm gonna charge that much money. And it is literally a muscle that you get through repetition. And if you've had that uncomfortable feeling, and you just can't imagine making that much money, imagine it, believe it, and you will build the muscle and you will be able to make more money. So that's the first example. Second example is I work a lot with my husband, who's my partner, and I know that in the small industry, we all use our partners a lot, and they are our free employee. And of course, they get all the pros of being, with somebody that has their own business. But there is a lot of cons that can come with that. And one of them is being a free employee and working the weekends and all that. Your relationship matters more than the business. So your why. I want freedom. I want to be able to be with my kids. I want to be with my husband forever. I want a happy marriage. I want to feel fulfilled. I don't just want money. I want it all, right? So if I want it all, I should really cultivate, first and foremost, my relationship with my husband. So with that said, make sure that when something goes wrong in business, because it will, business is business, things are, it ebbs and flows. There's gonna be things that just hit the fan. Know how to navigate that better and don't lose your mind on your partner. An example that I have, and I still regret it, I remember speaking to my husband in a way that I do not, for an order that we messed up or something happened and it was $150. To me, again, $150, whoa. But nothing matters like our relationship. So to let $150 cause a fight is ridiculous, honestly. Fast forward, again, your mind expands, your heart expands, you see money differently. One time I did an order, it was $2,000. I did the whole thing, product, time, effort, even the little stress, the jitters, got it done, delivered it, wrong date. I arrived at the place, I find out it's the wrong date, whatever. I didn't want to make the client feel like they had done anything wrong because they hadn't at all. It's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's okay, we'll see you on this date, total mistake. That's all. We ended up taking that to the women's shelter. They were super grateful, and I am here to support any women's shelter and things like that. That's just my thing that I would like to pay forward to. So we had fought over a $150 order. Fast forward later, I have utmost respect for our relationship that I'm not going to fight for money, especially when in a business you're going to lose. You lose some, you win some, right? So that was $2,000. The whole thing was done. We did it wrong. That's okay. We move on, never talked about it, like besides the, oh my gosh, wrong, it's fine, what happened, and then we move on, because we're human, we make mistakes. If they're with you, doing an excellent job for most of it, let it be. They're here to help you, but, we're not perfect either. Also, on this front, now that we're talking about it, I hear a lot of people like, oh my God, I run circles around my partner, or this and that, like, I can say the same. I'm so much faster in certain avenues, but he has an edge on other things. There's like things that he will observe and be like, oh my God, he's an engineer. So he'll be like, we can make this better, or this can be fixed this way, or whatever. So a yin and yang. You complement each other and just learn that in business there will be mistakes, and have grace for your partner and have grace for yourself. There's always room for improvement. And when there's error, it's just another day, another dollar. So that's number 2. Number 3, client issues. Issues when you have clients that can be a little difficult, and that is just business. And a story that I have is recently, this past December's past holiday season, we only took on like our favorite or like our regulars, right? So we had a situation with some beloved clients I love, but there was a misunderstanding, and speaking to the client in a logistical way, as my admin girl did, of course, right? First, tell them all the information, what happened, what transpired. She let them know why we chose this. So in short, we were talking to 2 women, let's call them A and B. A and B were in communication with us. C, we were gonna have the event at C's house. That's where the 3 of them work together. C told us to come back the next day. She didn't want us to be there on the day of the event because she had somewhere to go. So A and B were upset that we didn't let them know, although we figured since A, B, and C work together and they are in this event together, they're literally, a team, that they would have communicated this. We returned the next day, and we also received a non-happy email from said client, and it was very disheartening because we had poured so much into this event, and like I said, they were just regulars, and this season we just chose to do it that way. And to get that feedback was terrible for me. It felt horrible. Weird. I don't know if this was a glitch or purposefully, my phone number was blocked from one of their phone numbers, the ones that I had the most connection, like a relationship with. I was blocked from her phone number and they weren't paying. So 2 months went by, nothing, you know, after we had to try to explain it to them. So then I was like, okay, well, let's cut our losses. Their total was like over $2,000. So I was like, let's just cut our losses. And I sent them an email and I just let them know how I had poured in so much to their event. It was a very disheartening situation for me to hear that they were not completely satisfied and, you know, didn't try to explain anymore because they already knew the story. If they didn't care about why we did that, that wasn't going to change anything to reiterate that. So I just spoke from my heart and I was like, you know what? Let it go. If they don't want to pay, that's on them. I do believe in karmic energy. And if they feel that we don't deserve to be paid, that's on them. We're going to do our due diligence to get payment. But other than that, we're not going to stick on that. And after I sent the email, they just returned the message saying, thank you for making us feel heard. And here's the payment. So had I been super on my ego and been like, how dare they? They're just not seeing like it was their issue. They have no like communication within. If C is the owner of the house, how are we going to go and like walk over her decision making or whatever? Whatever. We are all in our little head. So with that, I was like, gonna speak from my heart and let it go. It is what it is. And the result was actually really nice. So when you're in business, you also can't get on your soapbox. You can't be super egotistic. You can't let your rage take over. You have to be really meticulous and like kind of, well, professional. But even so, like sometimes you can be candid, sometimes you can be human, but don't let your anger, rage, resentment, ego, the bad version of your true feelings show through, because it's not productive in any way. So those are 3 examples that I can say that I remember from the top of my mind of how a business, you have to evolve mentally and spiritually in order for your pockets to grow. So I know that it seems like money is just money, but money is loaded with all kinds of other stuff. So if you really want to make money, you got to make sure to grow from within. So that's it for today. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to keep giving you guys little tidbits. I honestly see this as a thing with like having just little sisters. I don't have little sisters, and I have older sisters who have given me so much wisdom, and I think in this day and age, people don't have as many siblings, and I feel like I was really, blessed with a lot of them. So to be able to give back now as big sister makes me feel really good. So I hope you get back, you come back and see more videos. And other than that, have a really good day. Take care. Bye.